everybody. Today I'm excited. I'm going to start on the electrics. I've been storing in my flat all the electrics that I've ordered and just been collecting for the last couple of months. So other than the solar panels, which are still up there, everything I've ordered for this van so far are either in this van or in my Iveco. I'll show you what I've got. Let's go into the garage. It's nice and soft in here now with this flooring. If you haven't seen my garage video on what flooring I used, go and click on that card up there. So in this box here, I've got a whole load of breakers and an isolation switch, a fuse box. This is one of those that has the negative ports on, as well as the positives. I normally like to get a separate bus bar for the negatives, but for this van, I'm only going to be installing a few electrics. Not really that many. I just bought that for simplicity and the neatness of the wiring. And I've also got one of these, which is a solar cable gland box. That's what's in that box. Bunch of fuses and things. So everything else has all come from Alpha Batteries. So thank you for Alpha Batteries for helping out with this project. I had to pay for most of it, but they did help me out a little bit with a little discount. So yeah, thank you Alpha Batteries. But yeah, this is a Victron 712 battery monitor. It uses a shunt and comes off the negative terminal of your battery and gives you an accurate battery reading. For those that don't know what they do, basically instead of reading volts on your battery, you can read a percentage, which is really handy, and you can see how much current is being drawn out or put into your battery. So yeah, these are very good. I've got an older model in my Iveco, so there's that. Got some of these metal brackets for the solar panels. Solar cable. More solar cable. And in here we have a solar MPPT smart controller, solar charge controller. It's the 50 amp version. I'm fitting 350 watts of solar on the roof of this, two 175 watt solar panels upstairs. And what else is in here is a DC to DC controller. So this will charge up my leisure batteries once the engine's running, you know, from the alternator of the van. Right, behind these two boxes are my leisure batteries. So in my Iveco, I've got the Superior lead carbon AGM batteries. If you've not seen that video, go and click on that card up the top there. You can see my batteries and my electric setup in the other van. These are slightly different to those, but I spoke to Alpha Batteries and told them the specification that I'm going for this van. It's got to be fully off-grid. You've got to be able to live in here. It's got to be ready to go. I don't want whoever buys this van to be messing around with electrics. It's just all going to work. I'm a little bit OCD with electrics. I really like to see nice, neat electrics in vans. My electrics in my van is, I have to say, quite neat, and I'm hoping to be able to do a nice install here. So the two batteries are pretty much going to sit like they are here against that wheel arch, and up here and maybe on this wall here, there's going to be all them controllers that I showed you, fuse boxes. I'm just going to take it all out of its boxes now and try and make a layout that I like the look of. So let's open these battery boxes and have a look at them. I don't know how I'm going to lay all this out yet, but I imagine it's all going to be on the back wall. I don't know how tall these batteries are. I was hoping to be able to fit them on above the batteries, or these controllers, but I don't know how tall these batteries are. So let's open these batteries. Let's open these batteries and have a look, see how tall they are. Got builder's bum, I'm sorry. And my hat keeps falling off, so excuse the flipping corona hair as well. Right, open these batteries up. So I'm a big fan of the AGM batteries. I know lithium batteries are becoming more and more popular, and the batteries themselves are getting better and better. But the AGMs I've got in my van, they just work flawlessly. So, and they're always full. My batteries have never got below 80%, and I just love them. But anyway, let's open these ones. These are 130 amp hours, so that gives us 260 amp hours of AGM batteries. Woo! Heavy old batteries. There we go. This is hot work in this garage. Should have done this when it was really cold. There we go. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is get the batteries, choose a location for the batteries, which I have done, I think, and then make them secure. So what I will do is cut out the floor, the spongy floor, fix battens all the way around, all around the floor. You can use metal if you got some, and then you can use some ratchet straps underneath those battens all the way over the batteries to keep them still. The battens will stop them from sliding, and the ratchet strap can only help. Normally I like to fit these batteries together, you know, side on, not lengthways, but they're just smart out the way there. By the way, if you're nervous about electrics, firstly, don't be too scared that you don't try. But most importantly, do your research. Ask somebody that knows what they're doing. I've done a few now, but electric setups, but I still have questions now and then regarding fuses and breakers and cable sizes. So before I do any of this wiring, though, I will do the earthing. I will find a good earthing point over here for all my electrics, probably onto that metal lot, whole load of metal there. I would normally earth my leisure batteries to take one of the bolts out for the driver's seat usually, and use one of them, just big ring washer on, big ring connector, and use it on one of the seat bolts. Probably going to be a lot of information. I'm probably going to be shouting random information at random orders throughout this build. Once it's all installed, I'll run through how it all works. We're running a 12 volt system in here, not 24 volt. So yeah, we're going to be wiring these two batteries up in parallel, positive to positive, negative to negative. That just combines them, makes them one big battery, and you're running 12 volts. If you run them in series, you can use 24 volts, but I've never done that, never want to. I'm happy using 12 volt. You want to take all the positives off of one battery and all the earths off of another battery, of the other battery. That way you've got an even flow throughout the batteries. So the positive from the battery is going to go from here to a breaker, and then to an isolation switch, which is there. So the batteries, yeah, the positive is going to come from here to a breaker to an isolation switch. You don't have to have an isolation. You don't have to have an isolation switch if you've got one of these breakers, because you can simply disconnect the power by hitting this button here. So you can just turn it on and off like that. But this is a fancy fuse, but you can just turn all the power to all the power that's coming out of the batteries off with this as well. So positive to the breaker, from the breaker to the isolation switch, from the isolation switch to the fuse box. This fuse box here, you connect the positive to this terminal, and then you put all your fuses in here, and all the appliances, lights and things come off of these, and your negative wire, which will come off of that. Remember we said positive of one, come off the negative for the others. From there it's going to go to here, and then you can put all your negatives for the appliances on these ports. Might be changing my mind here. I might put both the blue Victron boxes on the side of that wheel arch. So anyway, I'm going to start on the batteries, get these batteries strapped down and yeah, batten around the bottom and strap them in. Alright, I haven't screwed anything in yet, but I have cut the flooring out, so the batteries are sat on hard floor. So yeah, I've got wooden frame all around, even at the back. The gap at the back just helps them breathe, and also there's somewhere to hide cables as well around the back if you need to make them, if you want to make them look neat and out of the way. So now I'm going to remove the batteries and screw this wood into place, and also I'm going to show you what I do with my ratchet strap. Excuse the hair, I don't care. Okay, So there's neater things to use than wood to surround and hold the batteries from sliding, but it's what I've always done, and it serves a purpose. I've put the strap on now as well. I actually tucked the strap into those clips that held these handles on these batteries. Here we go, got batteries in the van. So I've decided to go here with the Victron units. Got the solar charge controller at the bottom and the DC to DC charger at the top. There is a reason I did that. It's all to do with the flexibility of the cables. The solar cables are a bit more flexible and thinner, so they're a bit easier to manage and get under there than the thicker cables that are going to be going to the DC to DC charger. That's why I've put them in that order. I'm just trying to decide now. I think I'm going to try and leave this clear up here because it's a good shelf for whoever buys the van to use. If I can get away with putting the isolation switches and the what do you call that? Breaker and the fuse box here, and the shunt, which is this, which will go here somewhere, then I think that's going to be great. Then it's just these two sides of the wheel arch with all the electrics on, and that's a free shelf for people to put things on. I may even eventually box these batteries in, just in case people ever shorted them with something when they're chucking things in the garage. So yeah, they may chuck things in the garage, and if it's metal and it touches these, and I'll have to box these batteries in, I think. Just make a secondary box that you can remove. And that means I'm going to have to put these all quite high, just in case I do box them in. Alright, chit chat, chit chat. Okay, good morning. Another day. Gonna do a little bit of electrical work today. Involves my big crimpers, ring terminals, and I'm hoping I've got, yep, I've got some big chunky battery cables. Oh yes. Wow, these are chunky. Okay, so this is, can't remember what this is, 25mm. That is fat cable. So the cable I'm using for these batteries is this, which is really chunky wire. It's 25mm. I think it's rated to 170 amp. So that's what we're going to be using to brace the batteries together and to earth it. I should have built this bed a smidge higher, then I would be comfortable sitting. It's not bad. If your head is between these rafters, it's okay. I'm going to brace the batteries together first so that they're one battery. Now with these crimpers, these ones are adjustable. So you can push this thing in here and turn these inside ones. I want is to 16, which goes to that small. Okay, camera stopped recording. There's one end, I'm just going to measure up for the other end, so we're going to go positive to positive, negative to negative. So the next tool I'm buying is some bigger snips. I've just been looking, I thought I had some, just been looking around for some. Which requires a bit of manipulation with these little ones. Cut that. You want to take about 1 centimetre of the sheathing off. Just use a knife or whatever. I use a knife, slice all the way around, give it a bit of a wobble. What I do is I place these terminals in there and I rest it against the floor. And then I push the cable into the back of that terminal. And then I push against the floor. Crimp it like that. Electrical tape. Oh, hang on. Make sure you can't pull it off. And that is the positive for the battery bracing. You can make the same with the negative now. One side done. Make it the same length as this. Alright, battery bracing, here we go. I was always taught to do the positive first, which was against my initial beliefs. I want to go that way or that way? Let's go that way. It naturally bends that way. Negative. Positive to positive, negative to negative. So next thing I'm going to do is create an earthing point from here to the metal on the van's chassis. Okay, so I'm working on the earthing now. I haven't earthed it to the chassis yet, but because I have the battery monitor, the shunt, because I have the BMW battery monitor, I have to wire this shunt. So the monitor comes off of the negative side. So the negative has to go to one port on the shunt, and then the other side it's going to go to the chassis and be earthed to the chassis. But I've also come off of here for the negative of the fuse box. So on this fuse box, the negative goes here, and then these are all the negative terminals for your appliances, and this is the positive connection where your power comes from, and then all your connections are here and here. It might not be the best location for that fuse box, but the new owners, if the new owners don't like it, they can move it, but it will all work, it will all be functional. So I'm just going to now make an earth connection from here. It's going to go straight down and then round this corner underneath that box. It'll all be pinned to the wall, and I'm going to find an earthing point. I'm going to make an earthing point down in this chassis down here. So my earthing point, I'm going to use this metal back here, and as you can see, I've drilled a hole, and I used a wire brush on the end of the drill to clean all the paint off, so we've got a good connection on the earth. So I'll put the earth in there. It's an M10 nut and bolt with locking nuts, and then once that's all connected, it's got a good connection. We can paint over that just in case it gets damp back here, and we can neaten up all of this afterwards. So that's the earthing done. I am waiting. We have ordered some P-clips, some clips to pin the cables to the walls to make them all look nice and pretty. But here is the result. This will be pinned to the wall here, and it'll be pinned in such a way that it goes snug around this corner. And the earthing point is on this piece of chassis here. You can see I've ground away enough metal so it's a good contact. So I have to say, don't just ever blind follow any video you see on YouTube. Make sure you watch 100 videos, get loads of different input and advice. Never just blind copy a YouTuber, because quite often they're wrong. I've made videos before where I was proven to be wrong. You know, at the time I thought I was right, but we all learn. This is just how I'm doing it. This is not how I'm telling you to do yours. Okay, so I went a little overboard with the 170 amp cable. I used it for everything that you see here. Anyway, let me show you what's going on. Woo! Look at this. So, let's start with the earth. Actually, let's start with the batteries are braced together. Negative to negative, positive to positive. Now you take all the negatives of one battery and you take all the positives of the other battery. That's what I'm doing. So this negative goes to the shunt. The shunt goes to that earthing point over there. The fuse box also gets its negative from there. Over on the positive side, it goes to this breaker and this isolator. Now you don't have to have both. You could just have this if you wanted to, because this is one of them breakers that you can trip yourself. But I bought one, so I put it on. So power on, power off. And then that goes to the fuse box. That's how the fuse box gets all its power. I haven't yet wired in the DC to DC or the solar charge controller yet. But this should all be working now. I'm going to test it out now to see if the fuse box gets power. Okay, let's put a fuse in there. Let's turn this on. Put this on the negative terminal. Put this on the positive terminal. Oh, can you see on my left hand? Got a red light. That's power. Switch this off. No power. Brilliant. That's working. This video is probably pretty long, so I may have to leave it there. So that is how I wire my batteries in a van. So that's a pretty good start to my electrics install. I'm happy with that. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm pretty happy with it. Got a bit of tidying up to do. I think I may box. I don't know whether to box in the batteries or not. When it comes to the 12 volt electrics, I'm a little bit geeky. I like to see it all. So I would like to leave it open. I would know, make a bit of a showcase of it. But I'd be a bit worried selling this van that somebody will chuck something in here and short out on these terminals, so I may have to box it in. But let me know what you think. Anyway, so if you enjoyed that, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in next week's video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.